Hey everyone, it's Lindsay, and I'm here to update you about my last Rolfing appointment. That would be session 12 of the KMI Rolfing series. So, if you're just joining us, this is the 12th and possibly final video in my basically series of reviews on my Rolfing sessions that I did this fall. I have finished the treatment, I've completed the 12th session, and this video is intended to be kind of a final reflections type video that explains the long-term, I shouldn't say long-term, it's only been a few months, that explains the big picture changes that I've seen unfold over the last few months. So session 12 is a bit different than the other KMI Rolfing sessions. Each of the other sessions, as I've explained in the videos, have a very specific recipe for the treatment, meaning everyone goes through the same thing in that session, more or less. So session 12 is a bit different because session 12 seeks to bring balance between all the segments of the body. This considers all the anatomy train lines together. These are the things that we've been working over the last 11 weeks. Now it's time to bring it all together, look at the big picture, and see what's lacking, see what's excelling, see what's been ignored, see if there's any final last minute tweaks that need to be done in certain parts of the body. This session zooms out, basically. Looks at the global picture and ties up any loose ends in the series. So I'm excited to share with you what I have found over the past few months. I decided to hold off on this video for a little while so that I didn't release it right after the session. I wanted to give my body some time to receive this treatment over the few months following that last session, and I've noticed at least 6 or 7 things since summer when I started this process that I want to share with you. So the first thing I noticed was that when I started the Rolfing series, my Rolfer asked me, do you feel a line up the center of your body? Meaning from my feet all the way to my head, do you feel this integrated line up your core? And my answer was no. I am very strong, I'm very aware of my body, I definitely I'm good at isolating and moving my body. However, when I stood there on the floor, I did not necessarily feel this strong integrated line up the core of my body. That has changed. I would say probably somewhere around session 8, 9, 10, I started to notice an awareness that I hadn't had before. That awareness was that I do, in fact, have an integrated line up my body. When I stood there and activated my entire frame, I do now feel when I stand a line that goes up the center of my legs through my core and reaches all the way to the top of my body. And that's a pretty important thing with the training that I do, because working a lot of the inversions, handstands, things like that, it's really important to have a full body activation, and it's not easy, and it takes a lot of strength. And if I've been working towards that but had some maybe misconnections along that line, I'm sure that it has really been holding back my form and technique within my acrobatic training. So I'm excited about that change. The next change is that I have been experiencing much less discomfort and cramping in my bad foot. And when I say bad foot, I'm specifically addressing a bunion issue. I actually have on both feet, but it's worse on my right. This has been an issue I have and will struggle with my whole life. It's basically something that about 2 years ago I considered having surgery for. I considered letting a surgeon break my foot in at least one place and then put screws in my foot to fix this issue. I jumped ship on the surgery. I decided that it was really extreme and I didn't know if that's something I wanted, and I knew it was a big decision. So I said no to the surgery, and let's see, a year and a half to 2 years later, I found this Rolfing series. And one of the reasons I took it initially was to address this foot issue, because I know it's been causing alignment problems straight up through my knee, through my hip, all the way up my back. And I know that that's probably going to get worse with age. So I mentioned that problem to him when I started seeing him, and he started doing very specialized treatments on that area. I have noticed that toe that wants to just like cramp inwards towards my foot has relaxed back out a lot more. It's not perfect. It doesn't look like a normal person's foot, but I have noticed that I have much less discomfort with it. I don't get that cramping and curling feeling that I used to get, and I am noticing that I have better muscular control of separating my toes and pulling them apart from each other. So what I think Rolfing has done here is it's allowed him to go in and soften all the tissues surrounding this challenge spot for me. And so what I believe was happening was all these tissues were getting all gnarled up, and it was forcing forcing my toe to make a decision to turn or to move inwards, and it was crippling it essentially. My muscles weren't strong around that area because it's all crippled by this tissue. And with him working through that area, I've found that I can find strength in that area. And maybe instead of breaking my foot and having surgery, I can simply clean up the area around that bone that's getting tied up, and then just strengthen those little muscles so I can myself pull that toe out and find better alignment in my foot. So I'm very excited about that observation. That's a big deal for me, and it's a big deal for anyone related to me genetically who suffers from this problem as well. My own mother has undergone surgery on one of two of her feet for this issue. She did it when she was 16, and in current thought way too young when she was still developing, and it's provided her more issues than the foot she didn't have surgery on. So I'm really excited about this discovery because it's really important to me and my long-term health in my structural frame and movement abilities. So moving on, the next thing I noticed in terms of final reflections on this series is that